Hi everyone. So today I don't really have a specific plan for this video. I wanted to talk about sort of facing your fears and confronting anxiety. And for me at the moment, that is specifically centred around sleepovers. As a child, I never had any problem with it, never got homesickness, absolutely fine. And then during my mid-teens, when my anxiety got really severe and I effectively sort of had a nervous breakdown, a lot of the things that I used to find very easy became very difficult, and sleepovers were one of them. And in February, I was sort of in a situation where I could have slept around, which I sort of, it was the first panic attack I'd had in a long time. Suddenly it was like the thought hit me and I just had a huge panic attack and I ended up going home. And since then I've sort of been busy, there hasn't been an opportunity, and the same person has invited me back for another party and has said, oh, you can sleep around if you want. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of terrified of it. For me, I have a lot of fear over what I see as situations that leave me trapped, and although arguably, rationally speaking, you're not trapped when you're at a sleepover or you're sleeping around someone else's house, I can't help but feel like I am trapped, and that if something were to happen, like for me the main thing is I'm always afraid of being sick. Like I could do a whole other video on where this came from and all that stuff, but basically I'm afraid that I'll go somewhere, start to feel sick and not be able to go home. And it's not specifically like the feeling of needing to go home, it's just the feeling of removing myself from the situation and from other people. And I do feel anxious about the thought of having to do this sleepover next week, which is going to be on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Not that that particularly matters because I'm super slow editing and getting these sorted. And I have committed to going to a party and to sleeping round, and it's going to be the first time I've done that for years. And it's kind of embarrassing to admit that because 10-year-old me would have absolutely no problem with it. And now as an adult, I'm terrified of it. And it's just weird that as a child it didn't bother me and now it does, but I can't help that, and the only way forward is to try and do something about it. The plan is to meditate over the next few days, to do some self-CBT techniques that I've been taught in hopes that I can try and reverse the negative feelings, particularly because the last panic attack I had was over a sleepover at this same person's house. I figured that if I can try and desensitise myself from that memory, then perhaps things will get a bit easier. I'm also going to be doing some visualisation techniques, obviously a lot of rationalisation. I plan on doing mental rationalisation, so picturing worst case scenario, rationalising, also writing things down because I do like to physically write down what is troubling me. I may let one of my closest friends know that I'm slightly nervous about the prospect of sleeping over. It's always nice to let a trusted person know what you're going through and what the situation is. And another thing I've done is I haven't specifically committed to actually sleeping over. I've committed to going, I was like, oh yeah, sounds like fun, but I didn't actually say, and I will be sleeping over. So for as long as I can, I think I won't commit, because once I do, I feel like that'll just heighten my anxiety. So that is the plan for now. I'm definitely obviously going to check in afterwards and say how it all went and if I did or didn't manage to do it, but I may check in a bit closer to the time and sort of do like a little update on how everything's going. I don't know yet, I don't know when I'll have the time to do that, but we'll see. Today is the day, and to be honest, I am crapping myself. I'm not really sure why I feel this anxious. Yesterday I was feeling pretty positive about it. Today I guess it just came around and I'm not doing so good, and I figured that I would just be open about this because up until now it was more a case of I'm definitely going to do it. I just may not enjoy it that much, and now it's gotten to the point where I'm not even sure if I can do it. But I'm going to push through. The plan is to meditate on my feelings, rationalise, go for a run to try and get rid of any like nervous energy, then maybe even go for a walk afterwards to clear my mind, eat plain and simple, and I guess just try to hold it together, and just keep trying to think positive. So it is about 5 minutes before we are due to leave. I did everything that I said I was going to do. I'm still feeling pretty anxious, but the various things that I've done throughout the day has definitely helped to minimise the anxiety, and I managed to eat a fairly big lunch as well, which is always good. So I'm feeling a lot more positive about it. For a while it was a bit hit and miss as to whether or not I would even get to this stage where I'm like dressed and ready to go. So the fact that I have is really, really positive, and I'm just gonna hope that things go well. I have a couple of backup plans, but other than that I think I'm gonna be able to do this, and yeah, I guess I will catch up in however long and let you guys know how it went. So last night before going to bed I suddenly realised that I never finished this like video off, so it is a few days later and it is thankfully the morning, so I'm able to talk normally, don't have to worry about waking people up. And yeah, I did the sleepover, it was fine. I felt super anxious on the way there, and for the first maybe 1.5 to 2 hours I was really anxious, and then eventually the anxiety just ebbed away and I felt absolutely normal. Went to bed there, woke up the next morning, no anxiety, everything was fine, and that's even on like limited sleep and eating crap, which usually will like make me feel at least a little bit more anxious. And yeah, everything was fine. Although this video was specifically about tackling like sleepovers and like homesickness based anxiety, I think the things that I did to help myself do what I did would be useful for tackling any kind of fear or anxiety. So even if you don't have the same fear as I do, you can still use the different techniques that I did. And yeah, I would encourage everyone to try and face their own fears. I'm hoping at least some people took comfort from this video, knowing that they're not the only ones that get anxious about things. Even as a fully functioning human being, I still get anxious, I still have panic attacks, and I wish everyone the best of luck in tackling their own fears. So I'm going to put some links in the description about how to tackle like sleepovers and homesickness kind of fears and anxiety. And if you have like other different fears and anxieties, I'd suggest going through my other videos. In the link in the description, there's always like a little collection of websites that I recommend to you guys so that you can look through them just in case, I don't know, my videos bore you and you can't be bothered to watch them all. There's always going to be links in the description, I don't take offence. And yeah, it was a good experience, I managed it. I know that you can manage it too if you put your mind to it, and I will see you guys in my next video.